Alright, you keep asking for it. The nerd couldn't do it, so I've gotta do it. Ninja Gaiden, until we win, go. But I'm not gonna do it by myself. I'm gonna need a little help on this one. Ted?
Hello, I'm Kung Tai Ted. Today we're taking a look at the legendary Ninja Gaiden for the NES, known as Legend of the Ninja Dragon Sword in Japan and Shadow Warriors in Europe. Ninja Gaiden was one of the most critically and financially successful game franchises released by Tecmo.
Now in the game you follow Ryu Habludidiboo Hablubidiboo Shubidiboo
Hayabusa.
What?
You're welcome.
Alright, so the name isn't important. What is that you're a kick-ass ninja on a quest to save your father, and nothing's gonna stop you. Nothing, that is, except the game itself. This one's hard. Exceptionally difficult.
It's only difficult because it's difficult in your mind.
What?
The game is difficult because you let it be difficult. Close your eyes and free yourself of your preconceptions of this game's difficulty. Suddenly, the game isn't hard anymore.
No. I'm pretty sure this game's hard as hell.
Well, have it your way. I'll be here in your mind if you need any sagely advice.
Actually, since you're here, do you know any recipes for deep-fried Twinkies?
That doesn't involve sage now, does it? Get back to me when you need a sprinkle of woodsy goodness.
Alright, so getting through Ninja Gaiden isn't impossible, just difficult. You're gonna need to master your platforming skills in order to get through it. I have one important tip to give you. This game is all about timing. For the most part, you'll have to go through each level as fast as possible to avoid getting stuck in that classic NES kill cycle. You know what a kill cycle is, you've all been in one. It's when you fuck up so gloriously that the game doesn't give you a chance to recover and kills you in spite of your energy bar. Well, Ninja Gaiden is full of those moments. The only way to avoid them is to go as fast as possible, like an invincible ninja, through each level, and to stop at key moments and let an event happen, like a bat flying across the screen. Now, there are some things you can do to stay alive longer in Ninja Gaiden. First, don't get jump happy. Sure, this game is a platformer, but if you're quick to jump, you're gonna find that you'll end up in a world of hurt. Next, learn how to time your sword attacks. The sword isn't an instant hit. It takes a split second to actually register, so your timing will be extremely important. Finally, memorize everything. This game is all about memory reaction to a situation, and if you don't remember how a situation will play out, well, you're a dead man. That's pretty much it. Ninja Gaiden is a test of skill and memorization more than anything else. Getting through Act 1 isn't that much of a problem. It's some pretty basic platforming action, and you really don't need me to explain how to get through anything. The boss is some dumb mook that swings an axe. Really, if you can't beat this guy on your own, you don't deserve to beat this game. If you're halfway competent, you'll be able to take this boss down before he reaches the first edge of the screen, because your sword is longer than his axe. Otherwise, just wall jump over the boss and keep swinging your sword at him. Act 2 is, again, pretty basic, but it throws some complicated platforming sections at you. There are some parts here with the army soldiers running at you that can be a bit difficult if you're not careful, especially when you need to jump from pillar to pillar. Just take your time and you'll be alright. The boss of Act 2 is an upgraded version of the Act 1 boss. He's got basically the same moves, only he moves slightly faster and his weapon has a longer reach. You're gonna have to wall jump up and over this boss if you want to avoid getting caught in a kill cycle. Slash at him when he's not attacking, avoid his weapon, then wall jump over him when he's got you in a corner. Wash, rinse, and repeat, and you'll be on your way to Act 3. And this is when Ninja Gaiden starts to ramp up the difficulty. Specifically, you're introduced to the Eagles. Learn this lesson well. Eagles hate ninjas. 3-1 isn't too much of a problem, unless you're not used to getting raped by birds. Just be careful on the floating platforms and you should do alright. 3-2 will introduce you to a new enemy, military guys with shoulder-mounted rifles. Yeah, I don't get it either. They're not hard to deal with if you can time the shots properly. Jump between the bullets and you'll be fine. The last part of 3-2 will introduce you to the most annoying part of Ninja Gaiden. Cheap deaths because the game likes to throw last-second enemies at you. Just time your jump correctly and you'll be able to avoid the eagle that flies at you. The stage boss is a bit difficult at first until you learn the trick to beating him. Kneel in one spot and swipe at his knees. Occasionally you'll have to turn around and knock down some bullets, but other than that, you should be good to go. Act 4 starts you off in a swamp, and this is where the combination of annoying enemy placement and instant death pits will start to piss you off. Near almost every pit is an enemy of some kind that can knock you back into the pit of doom. You're really just gonna have to memorize the stage layout in order to get by it. It's not difficult, just annoying. Oh, and the eagle at the end of the stage, dealing with it is actually pretty easy. Just climb to the top of the ladder, let the bird hit you, and then jump off. Piece of cake. Stage 4-2 ramps up the difficulty even more, but instead of having hard to get by enemies at instant death pits, you'll be faced with a swarm of enemies at certain parts of the level, making your life that much more miserable. Practice makes perfect though, and you should be able to get through this stage. Just remember that the green ninjas tend to attack you in groups of 2. 4-3 isn't the most difficult stage in the world, but it's not the easiest. If you take your time here, chances are you'll just get bogged down with enemies, so the secret is to just keep moving forward. The stage 4 boss is a pair of monkeys, gorillas, really angry sloths? I have no idea. They can be a problem, but you can beat them rather easily if you stand under one of the pillars and let them jump towards you. Because of the height of their jumps, they'll almost never hit you if you stay under a pillar. They'll simply land on top of it. This lets you hit them safely without being slaughtered by their jumps. Now you do risk running out of time with this method, so you have to be quick. Act 5 is where the game starts to get downright wicked. In 5-1, you'll run into a lot of traps designed specifically to piss you off. Almost every ledge has some kind of enemy or projectile that can easily cause you to fall into a pit and die. Stage 5-2 is just downright mean. The level is almost nothing but one gigantic pit that you've got to traverse. The first part isn't too bad, while the second part has this annoying eagle near the end where you need to make a rather long jump to a ladder. The third section of the level has you pinned against Hitler doing roundhouse kicks and robots shooting fire at you. Getting through this section isn't impossible, it's just hard. Once you get by them, just remember that there's a bat that flies out at you trying to knock you down the pit you're trying to jump over. The fourth section of this level has one of the most annoying jumps in the game. Nintendo Power recommends using some kind of Z pattern, but that has got to be the single most difficult way to get past this section. Really, for me, all I do is walk off the ledge, then quickly move to the left. You'll be able to change your momentum and barely grab a hold of the end of the wall. From there, you can simply jump to the platform and make your way to stage 5-3. But please be mindful of the eagles that want to kill you. 5-3 is difficult, not because of the platforms you need to jump on, but because the screen tends to get filled with an army of enemies trapping you in a kill cycle. Whatever you do not want to take your time getting through this level. In the second part of 5-3, you'll have to make your way across several gaps, but of course, they've got a bunch of enemies blocking your path. Thankfully, you can take these enemies out by standing at the edge of the platform and swinging your sword. Time your jumps carefully, and you'll make it to the third section of 5-3, and this one can be a problem. My only advice to you is simply run forward and time your jumps and swing attacks perfectly. There's simply no other way to get by this portion without being a ninja god. Or you could always grab the fire wheel on the screen before and rush through the difficult section of the stage. The choice is yours. The next two screens aren't anything special, just run through them without taking a whole lot of damage. And I do mean without taking damage, because you're gonna need it against the boss. Mouth. This guy is unfucking believable. His attacks cannot be dodged, and each hit does 3 points of damage. Does that sound fair to you? Doesn't sound fair to me. Basically, to get by this guy, you need full health, because the battle is an act of attrition. Move in, don't touch him, and wail away with your sword. When you get hit, move back in and repeat. Once you've beaten Mouth, you'll get to progress to Act 6. Oh, ho, 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 Act 6. Let me tell you something about Act 6. You're gonna die. A lot. The first part isn't too bad, just be careful because a lot of enemies can clutter up the screen all at once and give you nightmares. 6-2 on the other hand, look, there's just no good way to put this. 6-2 is absolute misery. You're going to die, and die, and die. How do you get through it? Well, there are a couple of tricks you can use. In the first part of the level, you'll run into a section of platforming combined with these annoying flying ninjas that throw stars at you. The single best way to get through this part is to simply rush right through it. You'll take a couple of points of damage, but at least you'll be able to get through it. Don't bother stopping and trying to kill the ninjas because you'll just end up in another Nintendo kill cycle. Rush through it and get to the next part of the stage. It's this part that everyone seems to tear their hair out over, and it's pretty despicable. There's this one part with 2 eagles flying at you, an army dude running in your way, and one of those zombie priest things throwing crosses at you from a gap. I'll admit, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get past. You have 2 options here. Either exploit a glitch where the zombie thing magically disappears by running back and forcing it off the screen, or you can use one of your special weapons to eliminate the enemies on screen just long enough to run through. Personally, I prefer the glitch because it's much more reliable. Now, assuming you do get past that part, then you're blessed with the gift of getting through 6-3, and it's really not all that bad. In fact, considering the hell you've just gone through in 6-2, 6-3 is downright easy. Of course, it's probably easy because at the end of 6-3, you've got to face not 1, not 2, but 3 end bosses. And these guys are no joke. The first boss is this hulking piece of metal that has fireballs swarming all around it. When you first face this guy, you're probably going to do the same thing every gamer does the first time through. Try to attack the walking piece of armor to no effect, get hit a lot of times, fail to jump over him, and die. Go back to 6-1 as punishment for not beating the boss, scream in frustration, and eventually give up. Of course, you don't actually attack the armor itself, you have to attack the orb in the middle of the room. When the battle starts, get in as many swings as you can against the floating orb. When the knight gets too close to you, simply wall jump as high as you can and wait for the knight to walk into the wall. You can then leap down, avoiding the fireballs and the knight, run over to the opposite side of the screen, get a few hits in on the orb, and then proceed to wall jump again. Repeat the process and the knight will go down without too much of a fight. The second boss is Jacquio, I don't know, some floating bear thing, and he's a tough SOB. Don't bother wall jumping in this fight. In fact, your best option is to stay on the ground. By staying on the ground, you can more easily avoid the fireballs. By standing still, you can move either to the left or right to avoid them, and if you're moving, quickly move in the opposite direction to avoid the fire. When you have an opportunity, quickly jump up on a pillar, then jump up and slash at the boss. It'll take a long time, but eventually you'll bring him down, only to be presented with another boss battle. Thankfully, this one is a fair bit easier than the last. Simply slice at the head of the beast until it rolls off, making damn sure to avoid the purple bits of goo it tries firing at you, and then swing at the tail. Once the tail's gone, attack the heart until its life meter is empty. Congratulations, you've just beat Ninja Gaiden. Sure, Ninja Gaiden is hard, but it's not impossible. In fact, if you're an old school gamer, it's almost a mission you have to complete. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's kill the lights. So it feels like 103 degrees in here. Those lights are fucking loud. Those lights are amazingly bright. Now you get to see the other recording part. Voiceovers. Bus. Hi guys. I keep promising myself I'm gonna use a shot like this one day. You know, with the light coming off my face. I never do. I've always wanted to do something like that. Like, have you ever seen industrial television?